And
Yeah.
it wasn't just coming off of vacation mode. It was literally because I was working remote. I was actually, besides my first time coming to Spain, I think I was here for like a week. But the
Mm.
other three times, I was here from like at least 30 days. So to come back to the
Mm.
U.S. and really feel the palpable feeling of you're in the real world of true discrimination, where they really don't give a crap about you.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can just feel it. And to know that outside, because everybody, as far as the US is portraying it, is, it's the greatest country in the world and everybody wants to come here.
Right.
And so if you do anything or think anything outside of the way that the US is doing things, it's like, why would you ever want to leave the US? And
Right.
now I know.
Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to Unapologetically 50 Plus, where we talk about real life, real healing, and real growth, especially for those of us 50 and over who are stepping into our next chapter with intention. So, today I have someone I have been wanting to get on here for a while. And she is someone who truly embodies what it means to live life on her terms. So, Ulonda from Locating Cozy, and she's joining us. She's going to talk about her story and what it means to create a life of freedom, comfort, and connection while traveling the world solo and pet sitting in some of the most beautiful places. So we're going to talk about what it really means to redefine home, find healing outside of the United States, and live with intention, even when the paths look a little unconventional. But before we get started, I have one huge favor to ask. If you find any value or enjoy the content, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I truly appreciate your support. All right, let's bring on Miss Ulonda and get this conversation started. Hey,
Hi.
Ulonda, how you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for inviting me for this conversation.
We had a little technical difficulty in the beginning, but we got it straightened out. So first, let's talk about introduce yourself, tell us about you, because you have a very interesting story, and I'm sure whoever doesn't know about you, they need to know about you and follow you. Because I mean, when I was following you and just kind of looking at what you're doing, I'm like, that looks like fun. I need to jump on that bandwagon. So tell us about you, Miss Yolanda.
So I am Yolanda and I am locating cozy. And the goal is for me was just to find my joy, find my peace, and do it without asking permission.
Mhm.
So in 2022, I have been working remote since 2018, and I started doing more research about the possibilities of taking my job and my life on the road and not being committed to paying $2,000 a month in rent in Dallas, Texas, or anywhere.
Wow.
So after doing some research, I found out about pet sitting. My youngest daughter had moved to Spain back in 2016, and I had visited her a few times. And there was just many situations and information that I was able to gather over time and through research and just like bits of knowledge being dropped in my lap that I gave up my $2,000 a month apartment. I started pet sitting full time for a year and a half. And during that time, I realized that I can move to another country. I thought it was going to be Mexico. It ended up being Spain. I thought I was going to move to Madrid. And then I realized that Zaragoza, Spain, was hitting a little bit better as far as the finances and saving maybe $500 to $700 a month. And
Yeah.
I just at 54, I moved to another country. Single black woman, 54 years old, and just making all the changes and making unapologetic moves and just very thankful. And now my goal is to share it with other black women. Focus is black women, but women in general, to let them know that it's okay to dream bigger than what the status quo has told you that you were allowed to do.
Yeah. And before we had our technical issue, you were talking about you were talking. Oh, now I forgot. See, that's why I have notes to stay on track.
I forgot too. I'm just smiling. I'm like, what were we
But
talking about?
we were talking in a nutshell, we were talking about how at this stage in our lives, not being afraid to make these changes where we can look back and say, well, we should have did it in our 20s, 30s, and 40s. But if you think about in our 20s, 30s, and 40s, your 20s, you're trying to figure out who you are. You're trying to establish your career. Your 30s, you're probably getting married, having children. So it's more difficult to, it's not that you can't do it, but it's more difficult to do it at those stages of life. And when you start hitting your 50s, something clicks, something changes, and you're like, I want something different. I don't want to go by the status quo or what society says, I should be doing. And like you were saying, that our grandparents, our grandmothers, and even our mothers, because my
Our
mother was
best,
from that.
the best female role models that we had, love them dearly and thank you for what they had done before us.
Mhm.
But their knowledge and their insight was still not where we are now. And they still had the expectation that our daughters have options. Our young women in our lives, they have options, but they are still expected to get married, settle down, depend on the man. If it, that's the whole meaning of life.
Right.
And I've never been married. I have three wonderful children, but I've never been married. So I had always been on a, I don't know. I'd always been in a survival mode for a
Mhm.
long time until I was in my 40s, and I made some changes, and I went to college when I was in my 40s.
Same here.
I'm very thankful that my daughters, they've all gotten their college degrees. I'm so very thankful for that. But I knew that, okay, so let me just say this. I've always been like the free spirit, the rebel,
Same
it's
here.
like, yeah, yeah.
I
And so
understand.
I remember at one point, I have a family member that lives in North Carolina, and I was going through some things like maybe 20 years ago, and she was like, "Girl, just come here, just come to North Carolina, and you'll be okay and stuff." And I was like, "Girl, I will be the biggest heathen." Okay, I will be the biggest heathen up in North Carolina, and
The
so
Bible
that's
Belt. Yeah.
yeah, that's not my. I knew that was not even with my struggles that I was going through. I knew that it would not be good for me to
Right.
go and shame the community. But I can't go and shame your community, no. But all that to say is that my elders, especially the females, they did the best that they could.
Hmm.
Um, but I knew that I needed that there was just certain roles that I just couldn't step into.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I thank God that my daughters have that free will,
Hmm.
and that they knew that they didn't want to they didn't want to be pigeonholed.
Right.
So I remember I was saying to you earlier that as much as I love and appreciate the women that have like set us up to
Hmm.
move forward, I want to give much love and respect to our younger ladies, whether it's your daughter, your niece, whoever it is that has said, what I'm not going to do,
Right.
okay,
Right. Right.
is pigeonhole myself into
Right.
one particular way that society thinks I'm going to live.
Yeah.
And they actually, so we have our elders that set us up for success,
Right.
and we have our younger women that have said, you can actually step beyond what your elders told you.
Right.
And I love that. I so
Right.
appreciate that power that has been given to
Yeah.
me, a 50 something year old, a black woman,
Hmm.
that I can say no. And
Yeah.
this is how I want to live.
Yeah.
And you're not alone.
You're
You're
not.
not alone.
You're not alone. And that's the wonderful thing about it is, I'm finding more and more women who do feel and think like I think, and that helps it that you don't feel as isolated. Like, is it just me? Am I the problem? Do I feel a certain way? And
Yes.
am I not following those guidelines that we're supposed to be following at this age? And so it's really nice, and it feels like I said, it doesn't feel like I'm the odd one out, the black sheep, the one, feeling a certain
Yeah, the
way.
rebel.
There's the rebel, right? There's a lot of women out there who feel this way, and it's really good to connect and talk to you ladies because, it just gives me even more strength to, make my move when I'm ready, not ready, because I'm already ready, when the time is right and I have everything in place. So,
Mhm.
um, so you said right now you are living in Spain with your daughter. So we will be sister neighbors in.
Okay, so hold up.
Oh,
I don't live with my daughter.
I'm
I have my
sorry.
own place.
Well, okay. Well, I meant when I say not in, okay, let me rephrase that. You're in Spain with your daughter, not living with.
Yeah,
You both are in Spain. Sorry, let me
yeah,
rephrase
yeah.
that. Sorry,
Okay.
Mom.
So I got my own place. I need my own space. Okay.
Right. So you're in Spain. So
Mhm.
definitely when I'm out there in Portugal, because that's where I'm going to be moving to, we'll be sister
Okay.
neighbors. So we'll have to
Yay.
have to get
Yay.
together
I'm
and
so excited because there's a big meetup in Portugal in Lisbon coming in October. I was just talking to another group
oh, there
about
will
that.
be because I'll be there in
Yes.
October. When?
The end of October? Like
So
it's like October 23rd.
I will be in Spain. I mean, I will be in Portugal October 15th through the 28th. So
Okay.
you have to send me the
But you haven't
information
heard
because
about that? Oh,
no.
okay.
Yeah, send me the
Girl.
information. WhatsApp me.
Yes.
I'd love to know about it. Yeah, I will
Okay.
definitely be there.
Yes.
Um,
Exodus Summit, Black Sig Global, all that. It's like
oh,
they're having a
okay.
big, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Are there still any? I did hear about that, but I hadn't made my plans till later. So I heard about it because Krishan, I follow her a lot.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
So,
okay,
so yeah, after this and stuff, I will definitely send you all the
okay.
information and
All
stuff because
right.
I don't know which tickets are still available. I can't quite
Oh,
remember if it's the which because I think it's 3 days of events, but I
oh, okay.
can't remember which ones. One is sold out, one is about to be sold out, and one
Oh,
it's like
okay.
they're still yeah. But yeah,
Okay. We'll talk about it.
yeah.
All right. So my first question. So you've built a life in motion. What does
Mhm.
home mean to you now? And has that definition changed since you started? I'm not going to just say pet sitting, but since you started traveling solo and doing your pet sitting, has that definition changed for you of what home is?
Um, for me, home is kind of vague. Opportunity is
Mm.
more honed in
Okay.
to um, the opportunity to experience things is more prevalent than finding home because now my home base is Zaragoza, Spain. But for a year and a half before that, I didn't have a home base. I opted to plan my life logistically around pet sitting. So
Yeah.
I didn't have to pay rent for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And with that, I was in Texas, bopping around between Austin, Dallas, and Houston and living out of not living out of my car, but basically yeah, I was living out of my car, and then I had like a storage unit in Houston that I would go and get things as needed. But it was a wonderful opportunity. It takes a certain mindset to do that.
Yeah.
It's because pet sitting, it ain't for everybody. It just is not. House sitting is not for everybody because some
Right.
people really do need a home
Home
base.
base.
Some people prefer, some people enjoy being nomads, digital nomads or nomadic travelers or just bopping around for a while.
Right.
Once I actually decided to move to Zaragoza, I thought that it would just be maybe a soft landing spot. Now I have roots in Zaragoza, and that's where I plan to keep my roots.
Okay.
But overall, the opportunity to go to different places, especially with pet sitting, and stay for whether it's a week or 2 weeks or a month, that works for me. And it's a wonderful blessing to be able to diversify my roots, diversify my,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, diversify my roots. Yeah.
We've been so conditioned to think that the American way is the only way or,
Hmm.
the best way to live, but this is giving you opportunity to really get to know other cultures, see what other folks live like, and to realize that, you know, the stories that we've been told about other countries is not true.
It's not. It's not. And stepping out of the US, even just before I actually moved to Spain, stepping out of the US, I realized that there was just this certain amount of calm that came over my body that when I had for the first four times that I visited Spain and then I would come back, I
Mm,
felt as the plane was landing, I felt the tension coming up in my body, coming up in my
mm,
neck. I
yeah,
felt the return to reality
yeah,
that was just like, you're back in the real world now. And
yeah.
it wasn't just coming off of vacation mode. It was literally because because I was working remote. I was actually, besides my first time coming to Spain, I think I was here for like a week. But the
Mm,
other three times, I was here from like at least 30 days. So to come back to the
mm,
U.S. and really feel the palpable feeling of you're in the real world of true discrimination, where they really don't give a crap about you.
right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can just feel it, and to know that outside, because everybody, as far as the US is portraying it, is, it's the greatest country in the world and everybody wants to come here.
right,
And so if you do anything or think anything outside of the way that the US is doing things, it's like, why would you ever want to leave the US? And
right.
now I know.
No, no. Now
Now
you
I
know,
know.
now you know that secret they've been keeping from us.
Yes. They've been gatekeeping that crap.
Right.
Gee. Yeah.
I've talked to my husband about this, and I've said, if even 40% of Black Americans left the United States, only 40%, it would be it would be a detriment to this country.
Yeah.
So I hope 40% does. I mean, I know
I
everybody
hope
can't, you know, and I hope the majority of it is Black women since, they don't seem to value what we bring to the table. Hopefully it's Black women. That
exactly.
40%. I mean, I don't think we have 40%, but I still hope it's a large number of Black folks in general that say, I'm tired of this. There's something better and I want to find out what it is. So,
The thing is, it's like my YouTube channel is small, but the thing is, I didn't start the YouTube channel to become like big and, social. I didn't start it to become an influencer,
right,
but the the idea that I can help and give insight for the women, the Black women that are like, I feel like I can't do it. If I can help them,
right,
it's just an amazing feeling. The
right,
women that I have talked to, that have reached out to me and they're like, hey, like I'm coming to Spain. I may not be able to meet up with them directly, but I want to give you as much resources as possible so
right,
that you are as well informed and that you no longer have to feel trapped,
right. That's a
that you
great
have
word,
real
trap.
options.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
exactly. So, which has taught you more about yourself, traveling to new countries or living in other people's homes?
Mm,
Or maybe
wow.
both.
Being in other people's homes.
Why?
Because via pet sitting, you learn, the bottom line is, as long as as far as pet sitting, the people are respectful and they are appreciative of the service that you're providing that allows them to travel. People have different ways of how they live, of how they treat their pets, and the certain expectations. And during that time, also, like I did a pet sit in Rabat, Morocco.
Oh,
Had never even heard of Rabat before.
wow.
Had never.
Yeah.
I was planning to do the meetup with Exodus Summit in Marrakesh, and then things just didn't work out. But I couldn't get a refund on the airplane ticket, so I just went on since I was already on Trusted House Sitters and I knew I was planning to come to visit my daughter in Spain. I was like, well, let me just see if I can find a pet sit somewhere in Morocco. And so, but during that, I did a week-long pet sit in Morocco, which was an amazing experience within itself. But the night before, because coming from Madrid to Rabat, there was only one flight in and one flight out once a week. So I
Oh,
had to get an Airbnb the first night and the last night. And just the experience of knowing that people are just living differently. And especially the last night I stayed in a home, it was right after Ramadan. Um, and I stayed in the in the old town in the Riyadh in somebody's room, like
oh,
and it was just like an original, really old home. And I was just offered a bed, and they had just finished Ramadan, so they had made this big meal, and they invited me. So just experiencing
wow.
this different culture and knowing that your way is not the only way.
And probably not the best way.
Hello? Yeah. So just to know that that's what this pet sitting in Morocco and in Mexico and in Lisbon and all these different places is understanding that people live differently, and just because you are used to living a certain way in the US,
Right,
it doesn't mean that it's the best way or the only way or even the most efficient way. It
right.
is a way.
It is
So
a
you need to
way.
open your mind.
Yeah.
I've had people that have visited me here in Spain, and actually I've heard a lot of this is like, I don't eat that. I'm not going to do that. You open your mind.
Right,
Open your mind to the
right,
possibility, because if you are stuck on what you won't do,
right.
you will never see the possibilities of what can be.
Hey, yes. I like that. Yes, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. So I was going to ask because, and again, it's that American mindset I still have.
Mhm.
Staying in someone's home, were you uncomfortable? And I don't mean like did they just give you, a cot or something, but what I'm saying comfortable, did you feel safe? Did you worry? I mean, how was that experience for you staying in someone's home? Because yeah, and I'm not talking about pet sitting. I'm talking about when you said that you were in someone's room. Because I thought about that, and my head is like, I don't really want to stay with someone that I don't know. But I also understand that that's that American mentality. Yes, you still have to, as a single woman or a woman solo travel, you still have to, be cautious and things like that. But have you ever felt traveling to these other places alone that you feel unsafe, that you have to, keep your antennas up and keep your head on a swivel?
You know, so before I started pet sitting, of course, most of us, well, if you've done any kind of traveling, had already experienced Airbnbs.
Right.
So I remember when Airbnb first came out, and I was like, I'm not staying. So I don't know. I don't want to be in their bed. I don't, you have all these like what I won't do.
Right.
So I just remember back in the day when I did my first Airbnb stay, and I was like, okay, I think my first Airbnb, I could be wrong, but I think it was when my daughter, when I graduated, because I went to college late. And so in 2016, when I graduated, my daughters, before my youngest moved to Spain, we went on a girls' trip. And so they bought me a ticket for a girls' trip to go to Costa Rica. And I think that was my first time, maybe staying at an Airbnb. I can't remember. Anyways, um, you think that there's a whole bunch of like what you won't do, but then you find out that in this big beautiful world, that accommodations and acceptance is two-sided.
Okay.
So you can't be like, I need this. It's like it's a two-sided conversation with both people that are willing to open their home
Hmm.
and people that are willing to stay there. There's a respect, there's a boundary, there's an openness that is required. And I learned it from staying in, I think there may have been a place that I stayed at Airbnb before that, but I remember the one in Costa Rica. And I remember My attitude was because in Costa Rica, there were no washcloths. And I was just like, what kind of place? I remember my attitude. I was just like, what kind of place is this that don't have washcloths? And I had to go to the store and find washcloths. I didn't know anything about pesos or any kind of money, but I had attitude because they didn't have washcloths. So you kind of, it, it, you know, sometimes you kind of like when you travel, you have this sense of entitlement of those like, this is how it needs to be if I'm going to stay. You get over that
Okay.
eventually, if not immediately, and you check yourself.
Mm.
So whether I have been in an Airbnb or staying in somebody's home, um, I check the expectation based on there might be a different cultural there might be a difference culturally, but also let me just say this. Of course, there's like a whole siren going on. The thing is also I'm not staying any place without some review. So yeah, I do have an expectation. So I want to make sure that it's clear that I don't go and stay at Airbnb or do a pet sit without certain expectations. The home has to be clean. The home, I when I interview for a pet sit,
Mm-hmm.
specifically, I do a video chat and I'm literally like, hey, let's talk. I have a whole checklist. I have a whole
Oh, okay.
interview spreadsheet that I go through. And
Mm.
then I ask very specific questions. And then I want to see your home. And if you don't want to do a walkthrough of your home, I shouldn't be there.
Okay.
Um, I'll never forget there was one person back in Houston
Mm.
that they wanted me to come and pet sit. And I think I was like maybe 5 months into pet sitting full time.
Mm.
And this person reached out to me and they wanted me to pet sit. And the guy said, so do you expect me to wash my sheet so you can sleep on my bed?
Yes. I'm not I'm not even understanding why you would ask me that question.
And
Yes.
at that point, I said, I don't think this is going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to walk away. You
Yeah.
have to walk away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, that
Yeah, I was like, I don't think this is a good fit. Yeah, you take care. And he's like, oh, but you just asked me if you have to ask me, then not a good fit
no, that's not.
because
That's
you're not going to wash
awful.
them.
That's awful. That's oh. Mm.
So yeah, there's certain clues. There's certain,
Mm.
little ideas if maybe the pet sit is not going to work for you.
Mm.
But yeah, but overall, I any any issues or concerns that I may have had in the past about staying in somebody else's home
Mm.
um, for accommodations, whether it's Airbnb or I haven't done a hostel yet. Um, but yeah, um, you get over that really fast, or you can just continue to pay for expensive ass hotels.
That.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you often share peaceful, grounded moments in unfamiliar places. What rituals help you stay emotionally centered on the road while you're on the road?
I I think that one now having a home base, having a place to be centered. So even when I was back in Texas,
Hmm.
and I was like bopping around between Houston and Dallas and Austin.
Hmm.
Before I even started, I had already reached out. My oldest daughter lives in Houston, and then I have one of my besties, and I was like, so this is what I'm planning on doing. So I knew that I had an option of where I needed to be, as far as pet sitting, and bopping around and trying to figure out what my next move was going to be. I knew that I had options, so I had like a budget of like maybe $500 a month. So in case I needed to get a hotel, and maybe if my bestie or my daughter, they had somebody with them or whatever,
Right.
I made sure that I had my budget, but knowing that I had options and I had people that truly supported my vision. They may have thought I was crazy as hell for doing it, but knowing that they were supporting me and they were like, girl, you're doing a lot, but I believe in you and I'm here for you. That was so impactful
Hmm.
because I know that there are many women out there that have this idea of making changes and being selfish. And one of my things that I do on my channel is how are you locating your cozy? What are you doing that's completely just about you for
Mm,
selfish reasons that just
yeah,
brings you joy? And there are a lot of women in this world that are not allowed to dream bigger than their current existence.
right, right,
So even though my friends, my family may have been like, what you doing? How you just gonna sell all your furniture and just, and just pet sit full time and depend on logistically having a pet sit for the
yeah,
next whatever time? But they supported me. I didn't, it wasn't necessarily financial support. It
right,
wasn't that at all. But they were just like, you do it, girl.
yeah.
I see it. And now they're just like, I can't believe you literally did pet sit for a year and a half, didn't pay rent, and then you moved to another country.
That's
It's
admirable. I mean, you think about that, and and as I'm sitting here listening to your story, that is admirable, and admirable. Oh,
admirable. Yeah.
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 And I'm sure more women, I'm sure, if they dug deep, real deep inside and get past the what you're supposed to do, they will look at that and said, that is very brave, that's very bold, that's I want to do that. How, but I'm afraid. Or so you telling your story and showing folks that yes, it can be done. Yeah, you have to make some planning and you have to have some, you have to have possibly a plan B. But like you did, stay with your daughter, stay with your friend. But that's something that I'm sure a lot of women are like, wow, how can I
Yeah.
do that? I want to jump on that bandwagon because
And the
it's
process
very
is not
freeing.
perfect. It's not
Right.
perfect, because I've shared this before. My budget was $500 a month for incidentals for lodging. That was my budget. It was like maybe 6 months in before I actually had to dip into that budget. And I was mad because I had to, the first time I had to like actually get a hotel or
Yeah.
get an Airbnb, I was like, and the Airbnb, I think it was like, I don't know, maybe $125 a night, but I hadn't spent anything on the quote budget for
Right.
like 6 months. And I was just like, I don't want to spend $125 on an Airbnb. Yeah, I had attitude and I had to really check myself. It's like, girl, you have worked this process logistically in a way that you were okay during the first 6 months of this journey, where
Mm,
even when you didn't have a pet sit, you were able to stay with either my daughter
yeah.
or my bestie, or I was like, traveling someplace else. But so yeah, the first time I had major attitude about spending money on a hotel or Airbnb. I can't remember which one it was, but I was like,
Ah,
oh, this sucks. And yeah, I really had to check myself. But the bottom line is for me, my comfort
mhm.
that I had to learn to appreciate was walking with and through the fear.
That. Yes.
You have to, because if you don't, you will be stuck and not moving at all.
Yeah. And that's it. That's the biggest thing. It's the fear. Because you have all these what ifs. What if this?
Yep,
Yep. What if?
absolutely.
We
And the
can't
what ifs will
control.
leave you stagnated and
Right.
leave you. And please understand, in no way am I saying that, oh, you need to, if you have $300 in the bank and stuff, and then you just like, girl, I'm just going to do it. Okay. There's some planning. There's some
Yeah.
financial planning that needs to be done to understand what are you risk averse to and all these things. Okay.
Right. Right.
So, but I'm also saying that you don't have to have as was it Susie O chick has said, you need to have a
Million.
million dollars set up and put aside.
Yeah.
No, that is
Yeah.
not a requirement either. There's a balance in there
Right.
that if you plan strategically and do your logistics and really, and you have to be adamant about it. This is not for what how I chose to take on this transition in my life as far as pet sitting. This is not, or even just moving abroad and stuff.
Mhm.
This is not something where you can just be like, well, we're just gonna let it land where it lands and who cares. And no, You need to do things to set yourself up to do your very best to protect yourself and your assets.
Mhm.
Um, or if you have no assets, to look at what that looks like for you. But also, I feel like for me, had I not made some drastic decisions and had I not gotten the information that I did get during my research, my job was sucking the life out of me. And I feel like maybe I would have already had a heart attack or had a stroke by now, and I
Yeah.
may not have been here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
and that's the
having,
reality. That's the
yeah,
reality of it. And that's what
yeah,
in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, but that's what they want. They want to work you
yes.
until you have no life left, physically, mentally, emotionally. And then you're right. By the time you can afford to retire, if you can ever afford to retire, or you just say, I guess I'll live off of beans and rice, they don't care. They
Yeah.
they they don't care. So yeah, why not try and go somewhere where at least, my biggest thing, and one of the reasons why I am choosing to move and my husband will stay back here in the States and come when he can, um, is the health care. Not that I'm running to the doctor. I'm not one big on running to doctor's offices
You
and
see me just doing a little wobble
right,
here about the
right.
healthcare. I'm like,
Right.
girl.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things for me because, we're not 65 yet. We're nowhere near, I shouldn't say that word, but
Yeah.
we're not 65 yet. I'll be 59 this year, but, if he decides to retire in a year, he's younger, he's a little bit younger than I am, and we have to try and wait till we're 65 to get Medicare. So that means all these years we're going to be paying, at our age, who knows, $1,000 a month.
Hmm.
That eats into your retirement. And I'm like, no, when I can go to Portugal, get private health insurance, and at most pay for myself $1,200 a year.
1,200 euro a year.
A
No
year.
copay, no deductible.
Right.
Done.
And thankfully,
Okay.
I'm a healthy person, but still, I don't want to take that chance and have to worry about, okay, is it going to wipe out all of our retirement? By living we're in California. So then we got an
Mm,
extra layer of expenses out here. It doesn't make any sense that we work all these years and then have to worry about, okay, well, I don't want to wait till I'm 65 to retire, you
yeah.
know? So that was one of my biggest reasons for saying, hey, babe, I understand you got to stay here. You got to do what you got to do. In the meantime, take care of your father. I get it. I can't. I
Yeah.
can't. So, yeah. So again, moving to another country, you have to think about what is your why also when it gets scary and when it gets hard, what is your why? And that's one of my whys, why I'm doing this. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, what what's a moment when you felt completely out of your comfort zone and how did you get your footing again?
So the okay, so in Mexico, I'll tell a quick story. Um, and I don't mean for this always to go back to pet sitting, but the thing was just this is pet sitting has allowed me the opportunity to experience things. So being in Spain overall and moving to Spain, I felt the adjustment,
Hmm.
but I haven't felt out of my comfort zone. I haven't felt like there's nothing that's happening that I can't overcome.
All right.
But during the pet sitting, I have had a couple of experiences where I'm like, I don't ever want to do this again, and yet I know I will. I have been, and I've shared this on my YouTube channel about my experiences. I have been locked out of the house by a dog. Okay. I have had a dog that wouldn't let me in the house to begin with when I was starting a pet sit. I had my very first time ever going to Mexico.
Hmm.
I it was a I had three different pet sits. I had one pet sit. The first one was a month or 5 weeks long, and 5 weeks long in Puerto Vallarta.
Hmm.
And I met with the owner the day before. We discussed everything, and she said the key will be in the lockbox and the next day. And I go and I couldn't open the lockbox. And she was already on her way to the airport to leave for 5 weeks to another country.
Oh.
Um, I was in Mexico City for a pet sit, and the day that I was going to San Miguel de Allende,
Hmm.
I was going to get in the Uber to catch a to go to the bus station to go to San Miguel, and I forgot with my luggage and walked right into a bike lane and caused an accident for the bikers. And one guy proceeded to curse me out and was so mad, and I was just crying and just saying lo siento, and I was so like mortified of what I had just caused this accident. One guy was actually, he had a, I mean, I don't want to disregard his cut on his leg. It wasn't the guy that was cursing me out. It was another guy that actually had a cut on his leg from me causing this accident. And but the other guy was yelling at me so much, and I was just like, oh my god, and like the whole community, the people that saw what happened, and it was my fault.
Yeah.
They actually went off on this guy and was like, shut up and leave her alone. They were saying it all in
Oh.
Spanish, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I felt so protected in that moment.
Oh.
And I mean, I literally called my daughter who lives in Spain, and I was like, this just happened. And so, and the cab driver, the Uber driver that was taking me to the airport, or excuse me, to the bus station, was calming me down, telling me to get in the vehicle, let's go. It was just a big mess. But the bottom line was, this Uber driver, when we finally got to the bus station, got out of the car. And my father had passed away a couple of years earlier, but this Uber driver got out of the car and made sure I was safe and hugged me. And I don't understand what he was saying to me, but I knew that it was fatherly love. And it was just, I'm about to cry right now thinking about it. He, like, the community protected me from this guy that had every right to be mad at me.
Yeah.
But the Uber driver also was like, you're okay. He, I think he was talking to my daughter because my daughter's bilingual. And he was
Oh.
like letting her know that it's like, I got her, it's okay.
Yeah.
So I felt out of my comfort zone many, many times, and also felt extremely protected at the same time.
Okay.
I got really, really sick. So when I got to San Miguel de Allende,
Mm.
um, I had was there for like maybe 2 days, and then I got really, really sick. Even though I think it was like maybe COVID, I don't know, but I got really, really sick. It was like 104 fever,
Oh.
sick.
Okay.
And the homeowner, who was actually out of the state, out of the country, told me there's a doctor that makes house calls. The doctor came to see me. Brought antibiotics. He was like, okay, yeah, you are sick, blah blah blah, and everything. I was just delirious. But the entire time, during that time that I was like, I don't know, I'm here by myself taking care of a cat and a dog, I reached out to one of the members of the Exodus Summit community, D from H&D Abroad, just to say
Yeah.
like, hey, this is what's happening. Yeah, you know her. She was like, where you at? I can get people over to you. She's not even in the country. She was
Right.
like, we have community there.
Yeah.
I can get people to you if you need some help. I
Yeah.
was like, no, I'm fine. She was like,
You sure? Yeah.
we have people there that can help you. You
Right.
need help. So, like, okay. But yeah, to have that, I'm out of my element. I am in another country, and still know that there was community, whether it was local community
Yeah.
or the Black women and within the communities. I felt protected and safe, girl.
I want to ask you just that story in and of itself regarding the locals. That's not that's not a story you hear a lot in the States. Have you felt that warmth and community from the locals in most of the places that you've been?
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, in the other countries, I know that they know I'm a Black woman. There's no doubting that.
Right.
But to them, whether I'm in Mexico, whether I'm in Rabat, Morocco, whether I'm in Lisbon, in different pet sits that I've done in Spain, and even right now where I'm at here doing a pet sit in France, in Marseille, France, I am the American woman that I kind of liking it to I hate to say it, but it's true. I'm like the black Lucille Ball, Lucy, I love Lucy. They're like, oh, there's that dingy American girl. Okay. It's like that's how they kind of look at me sometimes because it's like I'm pretty expressive anyways, how I talk and how, yeah.
Right.
Just so they kind of look at like, like, oh, that's that American woman that's pretty expressive and all that stuff. And if I'm messing up a language or something like that, or just talking in general, I have this like look on my face like,
Right. Am I
so yeah,
saying it right? Do you
yeah. I'm like,
understand?
it's so I have always, more than maybe some discrimination that I have experienced, or some like somebody like kind of looking at me a certain way because I am black, more than anything, I have experienced nothing but like, oh, that's that zany American woman. And I felt very protected because I do make the effort to communicate, whether I bring up my my Google Translate or whatever.
Right.
I feel like as long as I am making the effort to communicate in the right way and
Mhm.
say the right things, um, and I am, my Spanish, the language is ever evolving. But I felt safe. I felt safe in, yeah, in Morocco. And I don't know why, because that's not everybody's story. Don't get me wrong. I am
Right.
sharing my experience, my
Right.
journey. But
Mhm.
I've had some people that have said, like, oh no, the racism here is too much. And, and
Mhm.
also because my experience might be different because I am not, straight from the Ivory Coast, not from Africa. So how they treat Africans maybe in Spain is going to be different than how they treat an American Black woman.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, not
Yeah.
I mean not just about in Spain, but even in Portugal. Because
Hmm.
I was in there in June last year,
Hmm.
and I, it was me and my sister and a friend of mine, but yeah, I didn't feel any kind of, like, oh, looking at me strange or just the people are very, very polite and very helpful.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I did find in Portugal, that as long as you made the effort. Of course, I have my Google Translator because I don't know. All I know is obrigada, and that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's it. I'm like, thank you. But
Yes.
as long as I have my translator, they, and made the effort to communicate with them, they were very, very helpful. So,
Yeah. So it's been wonderful. And so I created, um, because people always ask me about, especially, Black women, they ask, like, what about the Black community in Zaragoza? It's like, you moved to Zaragoza. What about the Black community there? Is there a Black community? There are Black people in Zaragoza. There are far less American Black people in Zaragoza.
okay.
But what I had said from the time I moved here, once I got settled here, is if you build it, they will come. So I created and actually thank you, Rashida Dow from Exodus Summit. She said you need to go ahead and get secure the name Black in Zaragoza. And I was like, I know, all right. And so yeah, I did it in October, but it didn't go live until like January, February. And since then, the community, it's Black in Zaragoza, so it's like, black people from across the diaspora that are welcome. But right now, it just seems to be more Black women from all over, and we now have monthly meetups,
Nice.
where we meet up and like, and it's funny because, again, there's a lady that's, from Ghana that's lived here for like 20 something years. There's a lady from Panama that's lived here for 30 something years. So the group dynamic is so diverse and wonderful. But what I really love
Mm.
is we meet, and at different places, and nobody's been rude or mean or anything like that. So, but there's a look of little confusion. Okay. There's look a little confusion when they see like this large group of Black women that are just sitting down, like having cappuccinos and olives and everything in a place that probably is, they usually don't see such a big group of Black women hanging out in that
Right.
area.
Right.
And we sit with confidence, not with attitude, but with confidence. Like we belong. Yes. Just the dynamics of the group is amazing.
Mhm.
And I love every minute of the confusion that some people might have. Like, what's going on? So we've arrived.
We've
Look,
arrived and we're not going nowhere.
I love it. It's beautiful.
So, have you ever had a moment where you thought, this is it, I'm staying here forever? And what made you stay or keep moving? And your house sits.
Um, I have not. The only time that I've had the feeling like this is it, I'm here, maybe for the long haul. I don't know about forever, but I'll say for the long haul,
Mm-hmm.
is being here in Zaragoza. Well, excuse me, being in Zaragoza. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like this is going to be my home base for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't see myself, knock on wood, moving back to the US anytime
Right.
soon. But the experiences that I've had, in different countries. I had one of my besties ask me, she's like, through your travels in the past few years, what is your favorite place that you've been to? I can't answer that. So for me, people can ask me, like, what's your favorite food? I can't answer that. It's where I'm sitting at the moment that I'm going to appreciate that food. And that's how I feel about this opportunity that I have to uh, pet sit or travel to different places. Where I am is where I appreciate the experience the most,
Okay.
even when it might be a horrible situation. Well, not horrible, but challenging situation.
Yeah.
I'm still going to find the vibe and the positivity and the growth in that experience.
Right.
Yeah.
How
So
long? I'm sorry. How long have you been in Zaragoza?
I've been in Zaragoza since April of 2024.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you planning to get citizenship there?
That's not in the plan right now. I'll just say it's right now. I have a 5-year visa.
Okay.
And I'm very thankful for that. People ask a lot, like, "How did you get a 5-year visa?" It's a family. My visa is through a family reunification because of
Oh,
my son-in-law, and so
okay.
so as I do help women and talk to women and guide them through the journey of if they want to consider Spain and what might work best for them. I let them know my situation is not your situation. I have family here.
Right.
So your journey is going to look different, but I'm here to support you in either way.
Oh,
Um, what's so yeah, I don't know how long I will be in Zaragoza, but I think I'm here for the long haul.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've had people ask me, like, even being here in Marseille, France, they're like, "Oh, you're going to move to Marseille?" No, I'm not moving to Marseille. I will thoroughly enjoy coming to visit. I will
Right.
thoroughly enjoy coming to, hang out in Lisbon. That's not my home base. That's not
Right.
meant to be my home base. That's meant for me to come, like, maybe, once or twice a year to hang out for whatever time. Hopefully I have a nice
Right.
pet sit, and that's great. But Zaragoza is my is my place right now. It's wonderful. And yeah.
And I think that's the difference in the mindset because I've heard you're like the third, fourth, fifth person I've heard say that where they're at right now, it might be for the long haul, but I can't say it's going to be permanent. And I think that's what when you move out of the United States and you start you start living a different lifestyle,
Mhm.
different culture. I want to say, just from talking to different women who have said this, that it opens up your mind to the possibilities of anything and saying that this is where I'm going to stay and forever, whatever that
Mhm.
forever is, to, I'm going to stay here for a while. Is it going to be forever? I don't know, because now I think there's that freedom where you feel like, okay, I've done this. That means I can do, the sky's the limit. I
Yeah.
think it just changes how you view life because you've made that first big step moving out of the United States into another country. Now you're like, shoot, the sky's the limits. I
Yeah.
am not going to be, bound by saying that I'm going to stay here forever. I might decide I want to move to Tanzania. Yeah, I mean, who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I have noticed in conversations with ladies who have moved to another country, that now their mind is open to anything.
And let me just say this. I don't like to move. I don't want to pack up. I'm setting roots here. Like I went to an open market here in Marseille and I found some artwork that was just absolutely beautiful and that I'm looking forward to getting it like hung up in my current flat in Zaragoza.
Yeah.
Um I remember for all intents and purposes when I moved into the flat that I'm in now in Zaragoza, the electricity and the internet is still in the homeowner's name. And since I've been here for years, she was like, "Okay, so since it looks like you're going to stay for a while, I need you to go ahead and get the electricity on in your name." And I was like, "Why?"
I don't want that responsibility.
Yeah, it's like I ain't moving nowhere, but so there's different conversations. Like the place came furnished, but I do know that I feel like I'm going to be here for at least another year or so, and so like I want to get rid of the IKEA white furniture. And just a clue, just FYI, people, if you get in a furnished apartment in Europe, you don't have the option usually to like be like, well, I don't need that piece of furniture. They're like, it comes as it is.
Right, as it is.
Okay. And you
Right.
got to keep it all. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I did talk to the owner and let her know, like, I think I'm going to be here at least for another year or so. So I would like to maybe, like, can you take out the dining room table because it's just white, and I want to have something that shows a little bit more personality,
Right.
for me.
Right.
So,
Right.
but
Right.
so it's an adjustment, but overall, I don't see myself. I think Zaragoza is going to be my home base.
Yeah.
No matter if I go someplace else for 6 months, Zaragoza, I think I'm going to be keeping that apartment and just keeping that as my home base.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as a Black woman navigating these countries solo, what do you wish more people understood about what the experience is really like?
Not every look is meant to bring you down as a Black woman, as a
Mm,
Black person.
okay.
Um, Now, let me preface this by saying I know that you probably heard that especially in Spain, the older people will like stare you down and they're like, don't stare back, that's rude. I stare back. I stare back because it is rude. And if you don't want me to stare at you, I'm staring at you. But overall, not every look or every expression in another country is meant to subjugate you, is meant to make you fearful of your life. Quite frankly, in some places, they're just really confused because I'm not saying this is always the case, but I do know that there's a certain way that some Americans, actually, and a lot more Africans along the diaspora in like in Spain, they walk with a certain confidence that maybe the older locals are not used to.
Okay.
And I've noticed it, and I've had conversations with some of the women within my group, and you may want to cut this out. Okay, so Marcus, and so, but there is a certain amount of walk in confidence that we have that, and that I've seen it in some of the younger descendants that have come from Africa and stuff, that they're walking like I belong here, and you can't tell me nothing different. And the older people, the younger locals, usually no problem, but the older ones are very confused by that.
Okay.
They are very, very confused by that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So I'm like, so, but um, the bottom line is, as a Black woman, I know that there are certain racism is worldwide,
Right.
discrimination is worldwide,
Right.
but I absolutely still feel so like I feel exaggeration 150% safer than I ever did in the US.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I do want to preface this and say, because I know some people move with their kids. which please do take your kids, get out the country. But some people, as especially as Black parents, will be like, the discrimination that maybe their kids might experience in another country. Please don't negate it. Please don't downplay it. So just because guns aren't being pulled on them by cops or by random white people from the US,
Right.
please don't negate what your child might be experiencing as some kind of discrimination in this new country, wherever it is,
Okay.
wherever it is. I really do want to make sure that we are validating and acknowledging what what one person's discrimination or racism experience might be versus what we know exists in the US.
Right. Okay. Okay. If you could only pack three things that represent the locating cozy lifestyle, what would it be and why?
Three things. Ooh, my wigs. Um, if anybody knows me, you know my wigs. Yeah, yeah. I need to have at least three for
Okay.
convenience. Always. I may only use like one during the entire time, but I always pack three. Okay.
Okay.
um, you know, um, a notepad to write my thoughts. I use all the technology to keep up and keep track of my day to day, but to
Hmm.
really be able bring out my good notepad and a good pen and really kind of like scribble my thoughts or my needs or my intention. It's it's very you can always move them over or put them on your whatever digital platform that keeps a real good key. But just to having that immediate thought, have that. Make sure that no matter where you go in life, that you have a good quality portable charger.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the most important thing. And the thing is this, I have over the years bought my nieces, friends. It's like it's always like a cool Christmas present to get a good portable charger, not that little cute little slinky one. I mean, like a
Right.
good heavy duty
Right.
portable charger that's about this big. Okay, a good one that has all the watts and maps, and I don't know what the voltage or whatever is stuff, but to have that and
Uh,
have it always charged and ready is a lifesaver when you are a digital nomad traveling for whatever reason, going down the street to somebody's house or going to the grocery store. Always have that with you, no matter what. It's a game
okay.
changer.
Okay. I'll have to write that one down. I'll write that one down. Um, there was someone I was going to ask you, and that quick I forgot. So I'm going to my next question. Maybe I'll remember. What's
Okay.
one place you'll always return to, and one place that challenged you in unexpected ways?
The one place that challenged me in unexpected ways was San Miguel de Allende.
Hmm.
It's I just felt like there were too many people there that felt like non ethnic. Well, I don't want to say non-ethnic, but there were too many white people there and stuff that felt like they were beyond privileged to be there, and that yeah,
Oh.
it was overwhelming. I loved San Miguel de Allende. What I experienced though when there, the community was great, the locals were great, but
Hmm.
when I would run, because I talk to people, period.
Yeah.
So when I would ask, like, oh, are you visiting or do you live here? I had more than a few people that were not black and not locals that would say, no, my home is here. It was just this attitude. Like it was like the locals, the tourists, and they were like, and those are the others. That was just that left such a bad taste in my mouth. They had their little hangouts, the local hangouts or the local restaurants
Hmm.
that was like, kind of the Americanized or whatever and stuff. And they were like, yes, this is where all the expats hang out, not the tourists, the expats. This is where we go. And it was like this air of privilege that I was like, oh, okay. I see what you're doing. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Oh,
so
okay.
as much as I loved San Miguel and I love the community and the locals, that little air of, I was like, oh, y'all giving me the bad vibe.
Feel
Now, the
like you
pet
I'm in
sits were
America.
amazing.
So I feel like I'm in
Yeah.
America. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
you get that
Yeah.
American attitude, care and feel. It's like I'm good.
Yeah. That was the whole vibe there, Seth. And that was the only place that I've been that I actually felt
Mm,
that ick feeling.
yeah.
Like they felt like they were like above and beyond everybody else.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
So, yeah. And there's a wonderful community there, the locals and the other women. I met some wonderful women in that community. It was great. But yeah, that was like the ick
No,
vibe. Where have I most felt best? You know, again, that's one of those questions where it is really where I am at the time.
okay.
I definitely like Lisbon is not a place that I want to live. Lisbon is definitely a place that I thoroughly enjoy, and the community there is amazing. The
Right.
Black community in Lisbon is amazing. What I tell most people, wherever they're going, is um, don't go to a place and arrive. Like don't arrive tomorrow and be like, where y'all at?
Right.
They're working, they're busy, they're living their lives.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, I would say before you go anywhere, find the community before you jump on the plane. Start the conversation, find out
Right.
about the dialogue and all this stuff before you even jump on the plane,
Right.
because you will be sorely, and literally, I've seen this so many times. You will be so disappointed if you arrive expecting to have a parade in your honor. Okay. When you arrive and there's nobody there and you have to find your own way to entertain yourself. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So that's very, very important that you understand that, and that as much as I do whatever I can to welcome anybody that comes to Zaragoza. If you let me know that you're coming, I'm going to do my best. Like there was a woman, and I'm sorry, I jump all over the place sometimes, but I have to give
Boy.
this example. There was a woman that reached out to me that when I like a couple of days after I arrived here in France, she
Oh,
was like, "Hey," and she was very respectful. She was like, "Just FYI, I've been following you on YouTube, and I'm here in Zaragoza. I think she was coming in from the UK,
mm,
and I know that you're busy, but if at all possible, I would love to meet up with you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, if I know a Black woman is in Zaragoza, I'm going to try my best to move, the earth to meet up with her as long as you give
right.
me proper notice." But I let her know. I said, I appreciate you letting me know that she wasn't expecting anything. She was there. She had a friend that was in Zaragoza.
Hmm.
But I said, I am in France right now. But if you let me know where you are, said there is somebody else in the community that I think would actually love to meet up with you if she has the time. So I reached out to this other person that just moved to Zaragoza like 2 months ago. And I
Okay.
was like, hey, I'm not going to say her name because I don't want people, but I was like, hey, so this is happening. I'm not in Zaragoza, but there's a wonderful lady that's here and she's not far from where you live. If you are interested, I didn't tell her anything about you, but if you're interested, anyways, the bottom line is this lady ended up meeting up with two of the ladies in the Zaragoza Black women in the community and had a
Oh,
wonderful time. So
good.
we make room where we can to
Yeah.
make sure that you have a wonderful experience,
Right.
as best as we can accommodate in our regular everyday lives.
Right.
But yeah, again, just the goal is for you to not show up expecting a parade,
Right.
but if we can, we're gonna cheer you on.
Yeah, Lisbon is not the place where I'll be staying there, but that's not the place I want to end up. I want to end up in Porto.
Okay,
It's a little
okay.
more relaxed, laid back. Lisbon was a little, it was a lot
It was
going
too
on.
much.
It was
See,
too
I
much.
like to be right in the thick of it. Yeah. When I
Yeah.
planned to move to Madrid, I was like, I want to be right in the middle of the tourist area.
Oh,
That's me. Okay.
yeah.
And they're like, that's expensive. I'm like, I don't care. Okay.
Yeah, no, no. In Porto, where there's good port wine and just relaxation near the water, port wine, I'm good.
Have you been to Porto before?
No, but I will be in October. I'll be going down to Porto.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm. Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Be staying there for a bit. So, my last question to you.
Mhm.
What does it mean to be unapologetically 50 plus to you?
It is freedom. It is, it's locating your cozy.
Yeah.
It is literally saying that I feel like the ancestors are on your, like, when they say when the ancestors, when you're cooking and the ancestors, like, that's enough, child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's enough, child. Yeah, that's how I feel about being unapologetic, over 50 years old and doing things on your own terms. It's
Okay.
like it's like our ancestors, our women folk are just like, girl, we have suffered enough, we have done enough, and you have done
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
It's your turn.
It's your turn.
And you don't have to apologize or justify it to anyone because we've spent our entire I feel like I've spent my entire life trying to justify my existence, to
Mm.
justify my needs, to want to justify my need to be happy
Yeah.
and to feel like I deserve joy.
Okay. I like that.
You don't get to
Okay.
do that.
Okay. Well, thank you. Well, Miss Yolanda, thank you so much. I'm glad we finally we got the chance to get this done.
And I just want to put it on record right now.
Sure.
You can cut this out if you want to and stuff. But yeah, I'm planning on having you on my channel in the near
Okay.
future. Just FYI.
Okay, that's going to be
Okay.
amazing. Thank you. So, you guys, thank you. I want to thank Yolanda for sharing her story. Go ahead, drop a comment below and let us know what part of Yolanda's story resonated with you, because she has some amazing stories, and she, to me, is an inspiration for all of us 50 plus to get out there and, don't wait for someone else to give you permission because you don't need permission. Just do it. So thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with another woman who's ready to relocate her own version of freedom. So I'm going to see you again next time. And I think that's it for today. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.